appreciate everybody coming in. Got a lot of good questions today. I'd say an uptick in questions compared to normal. So Matt, we have high expectations for you, almost as high as the expectations for my power mustache in everyday life, but not quite as high, right? So no pressure. Everybody's still coming in. Oh, sorry, James.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as many good questions as we've gotten from Matt makes sense because Matt he fields a lot of questions, he and his team, but also makes sense that he hasn't gotten as many questions as that same mustache you're referencing.
It's true.
A lot of questions.
It does get a lot of questions. It's evocative. Yeah, it's
high
evocative.
Expectations, a lot of raised eyebrows.
A lot of weird looks. You really notice how many people are looking at you, especially at like a kid's sporting event. But yeah. So anyway, please let us know where you're joining us from if you feel so inclined. Oh, hey, I noticed we got Brian Lukovich here. He just won the Power Hour in Phoenix. Way to go, Brian.
Congrats. Heck yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, man. We'll be in contact soon to set up your White House visit. Orlando's here. Hey, Orlando.
Hey.
Sunshine State, Richmond. Very cool, very cool. All right, cool. So we got some people still coming in, but we're a few minutes into this. It's 11:02 here. So we should go ahead and get started. Hey, Orlando.
Hey.
I actually didn't know if you meant Orlando was a guest or somebody had said they were from Orlando. I was checking.
No, it's more of a hostile takeover from Pichardo. He's gonna force his way onto here. Says Matt Purdie has a question.
At what?
You can
Raise
talk,
your
Matt.
hand already.
Wow.
Oops.
Yeah.
It's not my first time doing this. That'll be fine.
Power move, Matt.
All right. So yeah, welcome.
Harry, I'm gonna interrupt you right there.
No. Welcome everybody to Office Hours number 6. Thank you for joining. We got a good group, got some good questions. Always remember the point of this is an open Q&A. We'll hang out for as long as you guys want. Feel free to, hop in, hop out. But we see a lot of people that stay on the whole time and just kind of take part in the conversation, which is great. I am Harry Kerbo, the Senior Director of Paid Social. And I just celebrated 10 years at CINC. So my entire 30s spent at Commissions Inc. to CINC. So you guys have officially made me this way. So thank you for forming me. But yeah, just wanted to toot my own horn for a minute.
Not with this crowd, man.
Yeah,
you're the youngin.
You're the young buck on this call, bud.
Oh, that is true. I am the least tenured person on this call. Wow. Yeah. Well, never mind. I'm going to catch you guys one day.
We're going to tussle your hair.
And I am joined, of course, as always, by James Terry and the most handsome man in internet lead generation, podcasting, videoing, aside from next month's guest, Alvaro Arize.
Right. Well,
where they may fence live for the title. So we'll see. But yeah, joined by Dan Lott, 2-time Inman Marketing All-Star.
Yes.
Yeah. So many monikers I could use, but how you doing, Dan? What's on your mind?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to have Matt here today. Matt is a font of knowledge. He probably knows more about CINC and the CINC system than just about anybody in CINC. So if you have any questions about Matt's a little nervous. He's thinking about some other people who maybe know more, but I think this will be great. So if you have some questions for Matt, send them on in, or we have some already prearranged. So
I was submitted when people signed up. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yes, I'm doing great. Feeling great. It's gonna be great.
Are you gonna
get stuff? I was gonna say I'll
am I doing my thing now?
Yeah, I was gonna talk a little
we
about
actually
Matt
did plan this. Every time we just do it poorly.
All right,
Okay, so I'll do my thing because I'm a little
dude.
nervous about doing my. No. James, you
let
go.
James
You go,
go,
James.
and then
You
we'll
go,
go with
James.
your thing.
Okay.
There we go. Right. I just wanted to let everybody know a little about who Matt is and some honestly some sync history and trivia. So, and I might slip a couple of times and refer to him if I say the word tank. I'm talking about Matt Purdie. So, some of that trivia. Matt Purdie and I have known each other for over 20 years, and I absolutely hold him in the highest respect. And so this is a fun moment for me getting to hang out and chat with him with such an audience because a lot of times Matt and I hang out quite a bit. We went to college together. We actually were in the same fraternity. We've known each other since I was knee high to a duck. And he's been at Sync like yeah, think on that, Dan. Figure that out. But so yeah, we hang out quite a bit. We talk a lot. Honestly, when we're talking, we talk a lot about sync. We've done this over the years, but um, cool to be here and get to talk to him with such an audience. And I know how much value he can bring to the clients, to everybody who's on this call. Because another bit of trivia, and Matt joined Sync in February 2014. So some of you might remember February 2014, especially around Atlanta, is a date that happened. It was called Snowpocalypse. Some of us old timers in Atlanta still remember it. Basically, the entire country made fun of Atlanta because we got like 1 inch of snow and it shut down the entire city and people were
Panic.
abandoning their cars on the interstate and it was just wild. But we weren't set up for remote work at that time. And Matt and I were actually housemates back then in
I was gonna
2014.
say, did you guys live together while you worked here? I thought
Hmm.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for several years.
Yeah.
Eric Robson as well was in that house with us. But I saw Matt when he had been at the company for less than a month and he couldn't go into the office and we weren't set up for like calls and remote work. And he took out his laptop where most people would have said like, "Oh, I get a day off because it snowed or whatever." He took out his laptop and he watched every video that Sync had at that time. And he just studied the system and he was a student of what at the time Commissions Inc., the value in what we brought to our clients. And I was so impressed with the way that he just attacked it and he found a way to be as valuable as possible and as efficient because he knew where he was going at Sync, right? And he's been a spectacular, it's been awesome to watch his leadership grow with the team and the department that he's in. He might not want me to say, but actually a ton of other departments at Sync basically go to the frontline team to poach most of his people. And in spite of the fact that we're stealing all of his best talent, because we know that they are an awesome cultural fit, that they've been led well, that they've been well informed. Um, he's just got a great attitude, and the entire frontline team knows everything that they need to know to help out our clients. So it's always been a focus of Sync that when one of our clients or users calls in, somebody in this building answers, somebody is able to help them as quickly as possible. And Frontline is the most knowledgeable team we've got. So I'm excited that this is such a Q&A format and has been, every time we do this for several months. And to have Tank here, this is his place is like answering questions. And so really excited to see what kind of value he can bring to some of the conversation we have.
Yeah, Matt, this
Wow.
must be exciting for you to take a break from answering questions to come on here now.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be great. Normally people don't see me furiously Googling things and looking it up. Doing this in real time is gonna be fantastic. One quick addition to I will say, and first of all, James, thank you for that introduction. I will do my best to live up to it. I will say one quick addition to that story about Snowmageddon. Not only had I just started, it was my first day at Sync. Was when that was that day. And so we're in the office and I'm still learning where the bathroom is or whatever. And the CEO comes around the corner. He's like, all right, and this is around 10:30, 11 o'clock or whatever. He's like, all right, it's gonna be bad. Everybody go home. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna pull one over on the new guy. I'm gonna go outside and it's gonna no. So I stayed as long as, and he comes back around. He goes, why are you here? Get out, go get. I'm like, all right, you're gonna get. Yeah, we made it home 10 minutes before everything shut down.
Yeah,
So
some people
that was my
commute home
first
with
day
like
at
7
Sync.
hours.
Was that? Yeah,
I was 11 hours to go 21 miles that day.
Ugh.
Yeah. All right.
So
So
that's how Atlanta handles snow, just
Poorly.
for the benefit of all.
we
And I
do
know
It
very
Dan,
was
rarely have
unusual.
lots of snow.
I don't want to slam Atlanta because they it was unusual circumstances. It was the temperature decreased rapidly and caused the rift. So Atlanta
But
gets some bad players at the time. All right. So before we dig into what Matt had to say, I wanted to do a screen share and discuss a topic. One thing I don't think actually Harry mentioned what we actually do here, and so we are the lead generation team for CINC, or we are part of it, and we help. We oversee all your ad budgets. We generate leads, and so forth. So that's what we do. So if you have questions for us about real estate lead generation, let us know too, and not just how the CINC system works. And one of the things that is being emphasized a lot in lead generation, online advertising, pretty much everything in business today is AI, and I'm not a huge fan of it, or I think a lot of it's overblown. But I'm going to show you something that will kind of it's like somewhere between 3 and 10,000 people are watching this webinar as we speak. But with AI, the importance of like producing content, it's kind of it's increased, or it's really blown. It kind of uh, inc- increases the benefits of producing content, which is what this does. What we are doing right here, and so I just want to show something here. I'm going to share my screen,
Oh man.
and let's see if this works.
Live
All right,
demo.
Boop. Share. All right,
Hey,
you see it? Okay,
there it is.
Gotcha.
there's a little black box in front of it.
Yep.
All right. So I use the Google AI search, or you just actually just searched in Google for CINC Lot. So CINC is the company, Lot is my last name. And this is the results. CINC Lot likely refers to Dan Lott, a VP of client marketing at CINC, commissions Inc. CINC is a real estate lead generation and conversion CRM platform. Dan Lott is recognized for his work with CINC's hyperlocal microtargeting strategy. He has been named an Inman Marketing All-Star for 2 consecutive years. CINC has also been highlighted for generating leads that resulted in the purchase of the most expensive home in Charleston's MLS, in the history of Charleston's MLS. So the things that I underlined or highlighted: CINC's hyperlocal marketing micro-targeting strategy, the Inman marketing deal, and the thing about Charleston. The only reason Google knows to put this in here is because of these webinars and stuff that I myself have created. Like the phrase "CINC's hyperlocal marketing micro-targeting strategy," like that's a phrase I made up. I like just came up with that. It was hyperlocal marketing. It's like, well, that's not as fun. Let's dig down even deeper. So
Pick up a second word.
I came in that, so it's now hyperlocal marketing strategy, and we talk about that every month because that is the key to our lead generation success. The Inman Marketing All-Star, the fact that we've been doing it for 2 years, the only place that exists, from what I can tell, is we've talked about it in these webinars, is the fact that I'm a 2-time All-Star. I'm on their website as being it. Well, I was on it last year and then this year. And then the only place that knows, or the only website or wherever that has referenced the fact that we did the most expensive home in Charleston's MLS, that is because we did a white paper. I wrote a white paper, which Harry actually spent twice as much time formatting and making it look really nice. And so we did that white paper, which is not even hosted on our website. You have to do it it's behind a paywall, or you have to register to get it. And then we've also mentioned this in a webinar. So these webinars are really powerful. And I know a lot of our clients, we had at one of our CINC summits, we had one of our clients who's extensive into video, like talked about what she was doing, and it was like, oh, it's kind of stupid. But No, actually, not kind of stupid. Like, actually, I was very impressed with what she had to say. But um, this just sort of like you can almost make up like this is what Google is emphasizing is in the future they're going to more and more emphasize these AI overviews. By you doing videos, you can kind of change public perception by doing it. Doing it. So I would, if not just doing videos, but just other kind of like get tweeting or Xing or whatever, putting on Instagram or all this kind of stuff. It you
Did you
could
just
create.
say
It's like I
get
wouldn't be
tweet?
surprised if the next time I do this, it was like Dan is known for being very handsome because
I was,
Harry,
I was gonna
as
say
joke
that.
always says, like Dan's the most handsome guy in real estate marketing. So it's like you kind of create what the AI is, and this is all true. Everything on here is true, but it doesn't necessarily have to be true. And so that's kind of the faults. My problem with AI is it's like, well, people take it for granted that what you're seeing is correct. And we've had like there's another company called CINC in the greater Atlanta area, CINC
Sync
Systems. I think
systems.
they've
Yeah.
merged our accounts. So it's like, oh, the wrong like the AI overview of our phone number is wrong because they
Uh-huh.
have the CINC system. It's like, great,
About 10
good
calls,
job, Google.
about 10 calls a week my team
Yeah.
gets sync system.
That's right. So it's not you can't trust everything in these AI overviews, but I think if you're able to effectively use video or white papers or social media, you can drive what's in it, and it can help you. It's not something we don't really have a plan for that, but we're doing that. That's what's happening here, and so that's why, we're working on this, and I think that's it's something that to definitely look for in the future for you guys for clients out there.
Well, I do think it's interesting because yeah, a lot of this I think comes from social, not just these videos, but then also cutting them up or making like we have videos about basically everything in here and having this kind of information in the description of the post and the title of the video, that kind of stuff. I mean, we made a really big shift about 3 years ago in terms of corporate strategy to really focus on video production. And it's one of the like we're not so even concerned with the videos being perfect. Just take a video on your cell phone of you talking about something for a minute, keeping just having that out there over time. We've posted probably 500 videos over the last 3 years, 500 1-minute videos, and with well-written captions, that kind of stuff can be indexed. But then there's also the effect of people see that, like for someone to search CINC, they need to know about CINC. So, maybe that's where, or for you as a realtor, for someone to know you're the best realtor in your area, they need to know you, so maybe that is social media content showcasing your expertise. But then, be thoughtful with the captions and things that you write, because I think AI is picking up on that. And now is a really interesting opportunity to kind of form your reputation with AI, it seems, and then they're going to figure
Yeah.
out how to monetize this because it's pushing ads down.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, it's going to have like the AI overview, and then underneath it is going to be an ad. Like that's exactly what's going to happen on Google. Google is trying to maximize its amount of money, so they will start having ads all over that and all that stuff. But with AI, what I think what's powerful about is like social media. It's like, yeah, we've been doing companies have been doing social media for 20 years, but that was always like kind of from the perspective of the social, like the company, like, hey, we are the best. Now AI is crawling the social media stuff and saying, oh, this company is the best at real estate in the North Springs area or whatever. So it gives additional credibility to the person who on the company because AI is saying it's true. People don't realize it's not. It's in not as it says at the bottom. AI responses may include mistakes. So that's got it in very small letters. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I think people are overwhelmed by choice and they just trust Google. So like whatever it puts up there, You know, it's like I could do my own research or I could read that this seems to make sense. You know, I don't know what to think about it. You know, like I have the same concerns you do of like AI eventually is going to take from AI writing inaccurate things and it's just going to snowball inaccuracies and no one's going to know because we'll be in the goo. But you know, like
But for now, the good news is that we know, at least to a degree for the early stages, how to impact and how this information is effectively crowdsourced, right? And how like the interpretation of your brand or your name or your company, can be represented in these AI overviews based on what people are searching. So it's nice to know like how it can be impacted and how you can change it and tailor it to what you want these AI things to say. So this isn't about Sync or Dan. I might be the only one that's asking the question, like, Dan, how often do you Google your own name, by the way? Like,
Oh, all the time.
his
lot, yeah,
wife
that,
Jennifer did this.
yeah. But for everybody listening to know as well, like, if you're on podcast or if you know people, if any content you can put out there to talk about your brand and your company, like these things will come up as they get searched. And I think that's valuable to know moving forward.
I do think the descriptions of when you post it are very important as well. And paying attention to like if you post something to TikTok, I think hashtags are more important in TikTok than they are in, you know, Facebook. So just, you know, tampering with that and trying that. But I think the biggest thing that we learned from the strategy overall is don't be so afraid. You know, perfect is the enemy of good or done or whatever. You know, like you just need to do it. And if you see our first videos, they look like hostage videos. Like it looks bad. But any yeah,
Anyway,
that's my takeaway from this is like this is an opportunity for you to almost shape your what AI thinks of you. Because it doesn't know yet and it's learning. But all right, cool. So
so
we do have
questions.
yeah. We do have some good questions. I saw Christine submitted one that Matt, you and Orlando, thank you, Orlando, somewhere out there floating around like that kid from Willy Wonka
Yeah.
and the Chocolate Factory that gets sent to the microwave. Mike,
The
the TV kid.
short answer, Christine,
Uh,
on that. Yes, you can route by city. I think Orlando said give a holler to our sport team. We'll walk you through it. But yeah, we can have your leads route by city.
Waylon. Hey, Waylon. I see you on a lot of these. Thanks for hopping on, man. Yeah, go over top micro markets for
Sure.
Oklahoma City for two reasons. One is for branded site, the other is for ad spend. Thank you. So yeah, that's definitely you can schedule that with your account manager. And then who is Texas? Is that Tony or I can never remember.
JB.
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 I
So JB from our team, who is another person who's more tenured than me. There's only like 7 of them, but we're naming them all. But he'll call out. He's a
Well, they're all in client marketing.
I was about to
You're
say,
surrounded by them.
I'd say 3 of the 5 that are ahead of me are in client marketing. So y'all don't go anywhere.
yeah. And Waylon, thank you. Great call would be on best practices for social times, hashtags, etc. Yeah, I just
That is good.
that is a topic that we've talked about because we've really seen a lot of results just from posting videos. So yeah, to put some data together around that. But I mean, the biggest thing that we've seen in a nutshell is video has been really effective. Not like we went basically from all image posts to all video and we lost something there. So now we're kind of transitioning to majority of video, but still some posts to like blogs and that kind of stuff. And it is just, you know, we'll take this call and we'll cut that up into 10 different videos and it'll live on the blog and it'll live on YouTube. So we can definitely talk more about that. But I mean, the biggest thing for us has just been, you know, keep in mind what you want your brand to look like, but it doesn't have to be in like 4K or anything like that. Just get it out there and get those conversations going. But yeah, thank you, Waylon. That's a good idea. Mike asked for get her done. Yes, sir. Mike has for price structure for hyperlocal micro targeting.
Maybe I should step in as the expert in this topic. So yeah, so that's
Just 'cause
actually
AI says you are.
so actually, yeah, well, I am the expert because I did, as I said, I made up the phrase. So all it is it kind of explains the strategy that we use in our department on the search side. A lot of our competitors don't do, and it is hyperlocal micro targeting means so you as a client will give us a certain number of areas, like 8 areas, 8 cities that you want to get leads from. And then we have assembled a lot of data that shows what are the micro targets within those cities, what are the parks, what are the schools, what are the um, country clubs, what are the zip codes within those cities. Those are the micro targets. And we do advertising, we do an ad group for those. And we have spent millions of dollars creating this very sophisticated software that allows us to do it at scale. If we didn't have this, it would be like a lot of times you think, well, you just do it manually. It's like, well, it would take 10 days to create somebody's account, which is something that we could do in 15 minutes with the software that our team has created. So the micro targeting is just drilling down into like specific neighborhoods within the greater thing, and then kind of the hyper local, I guess, is the then we also do a lot of niche marketing, which is the like within St. Louis, you would go like, oh, luxury homes in St. Louis, condos in St. Louis, all of which would have their own little ad group. And Google really likes it when you have it all plays well together with the landing page, the keywords, and the search terms and all that. They fit well together, so you get a lower cost per click and a lower cost per lead, which means you get more leads for the same amount of money. And so with these hyper local ones, we haven't done a lot of research on in terms of well, if somebody searches for this specific neighborhood, they're more inclined to buy a house like right now. But it kind of stands to reason that it is like, well, if somebody's searching for a home in a school district, you're more inclined to you're more eager than somebody who's searching, homes for sale in Atlanta or homes for sale in, California or something like that. So, anyway, so that's what it is. And so you don't really buy it. It's just part of, when we'll, as part of our managing of your account, that's just what we do. And so you would give us 8 areas, and then if somebody out there knows how Google works, it's like we would probably have like 200 ad groups focused on those 8 areas and the specific submarkets within those areas. So that's it. That's our hyper local.
When I think, I mean, you said that other companies don't do it, and I think it's true, and there's smart people in other companies. It's just, not as smart and definitely not as handsome, but they just don't have the level of automation built out. And that is a key differentiator of CINC, and so I know I always say this, but I always tell people if you aren't using CINC, you could be missing out on leads that are too close to buying, because the CINC clients are getting those because they're performing a search that is for, Charleston Battery historic homes for sale, and having that level of automation to create those ad groups. If you're not with CINC, you're probably missing out on that search because the CINC client is getting it.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, it's not an added service. It's just what we do. It's just what we do, baby. All right. I've got some other questions that were submitted. All right, this was an interesting one from Jamie. I'm trying to put this somewhere. Anyway, from Jamie, he asked about including a chat bot on the sites, which I thought was an interesting thing. We used to have chat, and I don't know. This feels like a Purdie question. What
Sure.
do you think?
So we did used to have a chat feature where agents could, see that a lead was logged in and chat with them. A little thing would pop up. We removed it many moons ago because it led to whenever we noticed that whenever an agent would chat a lead, that lead would quickly log off. So it felt very basically the determination was the leads were kind of like creeped out by like, hey, I see you're on the site, let's talk. Which, nowadays you go to a site and it is a chat bot and it says, hey, what's going on? But everybody's kind of conditioned to chat bots saying, hi, I'm a bot, let's help, kind of thing. Back in the day, it was, it was before it was commonplace. It was a little too creepy, so we took it off. So as far as chatbots go, the short answer is no. You should not put a chatbot on your site for two main reasons. Number one, CINC already has an AI that will communicate with your leads very effectively. Alex, most of you should already have this enabled. If you don't, please do, because it's awesome. So that is kind of the way that you want AI, the CINC kind of AI to talk. Number two, if you do have a third-party chatbot, now you have two chats going with one lead. That won't talk. That's gonna create a lot of confusion just for you, for the lead, for everybody. And the third bonus reason is because third-party like chatbots and these sorts of things will really kind of mess with the way your site functions. And our front end team is very good at making sites that convert the traffic that Dan and his team send to it, and that can interfere in that. So those are the three main reasons, I guess. I do see somebody saying, you prefer the bot over the texting. That's, I can definitely see where you're coming from on that. Sometimes is the AI going to get it right every single time? Absolutely not. As Dan alluded to, it's good. Is it perfect? No. But what we've seen with lots and lots of sessions and iterations and testing is that, more often than not, it's going to say the right thing, and and it just keeps getting better and better over time. Plus, it's integrated already in with the platform. So anything it says to the lead is going to show up in the lead details. So it's all in one place versus you having to check multiple places. So
is that an option though? I mean, could someone turn off if someone did not have AI running?
Mhm.
Would that change your opinion on a chatbot? Like
it would remove the, then you have two bots talking. I still would advise against having a chat bot on the front end of the site.
yeah,
I don't know about you guys. When I go to a website, I don't interact with those things. I'm like, I see something pop up. It's like, yeah, I'll go away. I'll, just leave me alone. I find them to be a bit annoying, kind of like Clippy for those of us who remember,
oh, I love it.
kind of thing. Like, it's like, go away. I went to your site for a reason. Leave me alone, kind of thing.
How dare you
So,
talk about Clippy that way?
so that's just that might just be my personal opinion, but the other reasons kind of still stand. Of it can mess with the functionality and flow of the front end of the site.
I do know that for us, like from a conversion rate optimization standpoint, the goal of the CINC site is they perform a search, they see homes that match their search, they click on a property, and then they sign up. That's the happy path.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really necessarily want them to chat with a chat bot because that's putting steps in the way of them converting.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of my thought with it. I mean, a more effective thing could be to you could take leads that hit your site using a pixel and create a remarketing campaign on Facebook and Instagram to allow people that don't convert to send you a message
Mm-hmm.
on your page. This is something that we did at the corporate level because we saw there were a ton of people that, the conversion rate is, I don't know, let's say it's 5 to 10%. You got 90% of people who were interested but not ready to submit their information, So
Mm-hmm.
something like that, that was really effective for us for a long time. On the corporate side, it was a messenger campaign going to people like who had missed a demo, or people who had been on the site but not become a lead. And that
Sure.
just allowed those people to, I mean, not all of them, but some of them would ask us questions. And, the whole point is, to me, that allows you to get as many people to go down the happy path as you can and get as many leads for as many full leads as you can. And then, maybe collect some other people. Listcast also does things similar to that. But so, I mean, I don't know if that's a right answer on chatbots. That's how I think about it, is from conversion rate optimization. And I mean, you see a lot of sites do things differently than the way CINC does it.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of the time it's because people take advice from like Google or this chatbot provider or some article, and all the companies read the same thing and they don't actually do the research. The reason that, we don't do a lot of things that other people do is because we've researched it, and it actually doesn't work. It actually hurts your conversion rate. So, and
Now,
that's
and
what
I
we've
will say this: if there's just if a place a chatbot might be useful would be on like a branded accelerator site, on a branded site, um, because the sync site is designed to get you leads. That's it. At the end of the day, get you leads so that you can be awesome at your job and sell houses, right? The brand accelerator is designed to, as Harry pointed out earlier, like to get people to know about you, right? And so a chatbot that's like geared to like expressing your brand would be great for a brand accelerator site, which is just another funnel into the sync site to get them to register there. So that might be a good place to experiment with chatbots and kind of what they can do there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would prefer a chatbot on a site that does not have forced registration.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I mean, what if you have somebody that is ready to come on the site and give you all their contact information, but instead they have a conversation with the chatbot that you're introducing variables, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, but yeah, no, I understand. And like I see Tina's big builders use bots on their sites, have live chat going, and they convert those leads. I mean, I don't doubt that they convert the leads. I wonder if they would get more leads, if they change that flow. I hate taking people's attention away from the goal of why we sent them to the site.
Mm-hmm.
Is that anybody else?
Well, we've talked
Um,
real quick because in terms of Matt saying like we recommend the AI and the texting versus the chatbot. So far in this conversation, we've talked about three things. Dan mentioned earlier the house that got sold in Charleston, which we've gone back to several times on several different webinars. So for anyone that doesn't know, I'll touch on that briefly. But we also talked about the micro targeting, and then Matt just brought up AI. And I want to talk about how those three like all work together to the flow of what CINC's system is designed to do and how we've tried to set it up to the most benefit and value for our clients, right? Like somebody went on and searched specifically for historic homes. Harry, I think you said the exact search criteria a second ago, but I know it was historic homes that they were looking for. And because of our niches and the automation Dan was talking about, we have an ad, a landing page. We were able to filter that click to a page that showed exactly what they were looking for. These are MLS considered historic homes in the Charleston area. They clicked on I think it was at like 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
on
And
Sunday,
so
yeah.
they were on the site, they registered late night on a Sunday evening, not super late, but later than most people would text or call them back, on a Sunday, on a weekend at night. And so AI reached out to them, had a quick conversation, built some rapport, and scheduled a meeting. And then that client woke up on Monday morning, looked at their system. Okay, what do I got on the calendar for today? Hey, I have an appointment with a $20 million, prospect at 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And that's a lead that came in because of the way that we were targeting the ad, the search criteria, the automation we used, and the conversation that AI had that most people aren't going to be reaching out to. And they just woke up and there's the appointment. Now, at the end of the day, you do still have to show up the appointment, right? As an agent, you still got to go and show value to that person, that buyer, and everything. But that person bought a $22 million home. Like I think it was 19 million for the house and 3 million for the furniture. They bought it for fully furnished. And that's the system and the flow. That's why we do so much testing to say, what is the best way to get leads into the system, onto the site, into the system, and then scheduling appointments for you.
We got an interesting question a minute ago about slide dials, but I want to get to these other questions as well that were submitted at sign up. So we are getting to that question on slide dial. I think that's interesting. Another one that we got came from Jasmine. She asked, is there a way to delete contacts that are not verified or do not have a name or email?
Short answer is no. You cannot delete leads. So yeah, no. So basically, there's not a way for folks to delete leads for a very important reason, and that is that trash leads can still buy a house. Just try if there's a lead you just cannot stand to see, just trash it. It goes off your default search. You have to filter to see them. But I think ask any trainer, ask any AM, and they'll tell you a story about one of their clients, a trash lead raised their hand, went back, came back a year later, pick the scenario, but so many times over the years has a trash lead turned into a closing in one form or another. I'm not saying you got to check your trash every single day. A lot of people say, once a week, every other week, see if somebody filter by, sort by last login. Hey, this random person named Mickey Mouse logged in. Maybe it's worth an email, or maybe it's worth something, But yeah, so you can't delete them because you never know, kind of thing. And also, you know, there's no harm in having it on your site. If you just don't want to see it, just trash it. So,
and I just want to talk about the verified site, the verified, the blue check mark that you'll see. And just because it doesn't have a blue check mark, it's something like 3/4 of our site. When this launched around a year ago, I was expecting to be like 30% verified, but it's around 75% of the leads are verified, which means it's 2-factor. So it is the person. The person is, they put in a phone number that they did on their device. That is 100% accurate. That's the person. But the other 25%, they're just somebody who didn't have their phone nearby, or their phone's in the car, or they're like, to heck with that. I'm not gonna two-factor verify.
Right.
So there's still people, but they just didn't two-factor verify. So it doesn't mean they're garbage and they should be deleted. They just didn't feel like doing it. So just celebrate the 75. Don't diminish the 25.
Well, that's the most powerful feature of Real Verified. And another differentiator of CINC is we see a percentage of leads that put in a bad phone number, do not verify, and then come back and verify later. And not even, we see a lot of them that do it when they realize they can't get to the home they wanted to see initially. But we also see a lot of people do it from like property alerts and things like that down the road. So yeah, I mean, that's why I would be against deleting leads as well. As I mean, you do see those posts in the owners group of this person came in 8 years ago, has looked at 800 properties and finally called me, or
Yeah,
I
keep
love
in
that. I
mind, like,
believe it. Sorry, go ahead.
well, the way that the budget is used, and somebody, like, I think on Inside Sync, it just reminded me recently that our clients might not realize this because some of the people in different teams don't realize this, but the way that the ad spend is used is, you're not buying a lead. We're not spending money to put leads into your site. What we're doing is, it's called a pay per click, right? Your ad spend is used as soon as someone clicks on the ad. Regardless of what they do after that moment, Google got paid. They're happy, right? The they cash their check for the cost per click, whatever it may have been. But that's whether they just click and bounce off the page. That's whether they register and give a good number, a bad number, or that's whether they register and you put them into the trash leads. So it's just value that you've already paid for, that's in the system, that's on the dashboard. And if literally anything comes, if 1% of them show up, 2 years down the road, it's either trash them or don't, right? But just keep in mind, like, the budget was used as soon as they clicked on that, and then any value that we can get after that click is only positive. Like, that's what we're doing for it. But just keep that in mind, because like I said, somebody mentioned that recently, that they didn't realize, like, we pay per click, and then we just extract as much as we can from that 70 cents or $1.10 or whatever, cost per click varies, of course. But yeah,
Well,
throw
and
it back to here.
that goes back to conversion rate optimization too.
Oh yeah.
That's why we don't want to distract people once they land on a site. We want you give us a budget and we want to get as many realistic, interested leads as we can, with that budget. And that's what we're the best at. I mean, that's our expertise. All right, got an interesting question about Sly voicemails. So let me know if I'm not understanding. To me, a Sly voicemail, like a Sly dial, is you call and it doesn't ring, goes right to voicemail. This client uses Agent Legend with CINC because they offer Sly dials. So Agent Legend, it seems, is also using AI. So it looks like so there's two questions. It looks like the question is really around, has CINC investigated Sly dials? Is that something that is on the roadmap? I mean, I don't know of any. I know it's a topic that's been talked about. I don't know of
Yeah,
any development towards it.
I don't know if Matt would know about
Yeah,
this, but
I can jump in on that. We actually have been having some discovery sessions around the dialer in the past few weeks, actually, to kind of that the dialer is becoming kind of our next. All right, let's make this thing awesome. Let's bring it up to date, kind of thing. And so the doing the voicemail drop or Sly voicemails, doing the AI kind of transcription or suggestions and things like that are definitely things um, that we're investigating for the next iteration of the dialer. So we're looking at what other more more dialer focused platforms use, and trying to kind of see, okay, what are they doing right, how could we incorporate that kind of thing, how do we avoid the mistakes that they may be making, that sort of thing. So sorry, short answer is yes, we are looking into that. Believe me, whenever we roll out something like that, you will hear about it because we'll shout it from the mountaintops. So
and we do have in beta call transcription.
Mhm.
Call transcriptions. That's the big improvement that we have, and we have, as Matt said, we have a lot of stuff in the offing. They're diligently working on stuff, but the call transcriptions and then call recording, I think, is another thing that has been discussed, and I'm not sure if that's in beta yet, but call transcriptions is in beta, and I assume that's gonna be live pretty soon.
So piggyback off the same question, they mentioned AI sends messages whenever a lead registers, which causes leads to go out at all hours of the night. I would prefer it if people didn't get texts at 3 a.m. I mean, to me, I don't understand if that person signs up at 3 a.m.
Right.
I think we'd want there's always been requests of what's called day parting. And again, this is another this is another thing that a lot of companies do, I think, because clients ask them to, and it's logical, but it doesn't play out. So day parting is only showing ads between a certain time of day, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or something like that. What you're doing there is you're limiting the algorithm's ability to find you people who are searching, and your cost per lead may be a lot cheaper at night. And I mean, that could be someone, what if that's a parent who's works and goes to school,
someone on the
then
night shift,
right, then gets
Yeah.
home. I mean,
Anybody worked in a restaurant comes to mind, that kind of stuff.
so I mean, that's the logic behind it. I think it's interesting feedback. And definitely, you can submit that to your account manager. They pass that feedback along to the team. But I mean, to me, it's just been if that person wants to sign up at 3 and they're on their
And
phone,
if they're
then-
chatting, if they're talking,
Yeah, they're back in
Okay.
the bars. They've had a
Right.
few they've had a few
Right.
hops. They're ready to buy a house.
you're gonna
It's like,
impulse buy a mansion.
hey,
yeah, if they want to talk at 3 a.m., let's let them talk. The more the lead
I can see-
interacts
I-
and engages, the better.
if it was the AI sending out random texts to random leads at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
Which
I would
did
be
happen in
against
the
that.
beta.
But since
Well-
it's a direct response to
Yeah.
the person they're up, they're ready to talk.
Yeah,
Hey John, you up?
yeah, we did have that in a unreleased version of the AI during testing. There were some 3 a.m. Hey man, you up? Kind of texts. So
WYD.
So I'm curious, and I know we've got Mike. I like what you had put in here about Alex, and it's more of a product thing. I don't know if you saw me. I stood up a second ago to make sure I had my notebook, and I did want to jot that down for our product team about as Alex re-engaging after it's been handed off, but maybe been ghosted, that kind of thing. Not a bad point. I'll see if they're looking into if there's been zero communication for, I don't know, the time frame.
Yeah.
Feel free to put it in the chat, like what you feel like a time frame would be appropriate. If is it 30 days? Is it 6 months? Like when do you feel like you've been ghosted by someone on the site? But I am curious, and I want to ask Matt, like maybe for a top five, like while we've got you and we're coming up on the last couple minutes here, what are some of the questions, I guess, either frequently asked questions or the most common like points of confusion that you and your team get that people call in on that might be a good time to let people know? Is there a difference between, say, site owners and agents and people, who use the software? Do they have different concerns or points of confusion like that? But do you
Yeah,
have like 3
absolutely.
or 5?
Yeah, sure. So, a couple that spring to mind, I guess, off the top of my head here. One, a common thing we will see is when people are building like an email, either a template or a campaign or something like that, they will write their email in like Word or something like that, and then just copy paste it into the platform, along with all the extra formatting and whatnot, and it will send, and it won't quite look the way it did in Word, and so the formatting gets all kind of wonky, and then they'll call in and say, "Oh, it looks dumb. How could this have happened?" Blah blah blah. It's like, well, CINC isn't Word, and so the formatting can kind of break when you do that. Our recommendation on that is just make the email in the CINC compose message thing to avoid that. You can still put pictures, you can format, and it'll send properly. So number one thing is, when we go to inspect the email and it's just a wall of HTML formatting that, can break things. So skip that, just make it in the CINC platform.
Could you
Save yourself
copy
a lot
and
of time.
paste from a text file? Would that, if not doing it
I would
in
just-
the thing?
I would just advise against copy pasting
All
in
right.
there anyway. Just write it in the compose. You're typing it one place, just type it there. Or if you're copying content from somewhere else and all you want is the text, paste as plain text, don't bring over the formatting because that can mess things up. So let's see. Another common thing, we get a lot of lead routing questions. Usually they're pretty quick fixes. A common thing that people will do is they'll give everybody on their team like a city or a state routing, except for like one person, or they'll forget to turn that on for their brand new agent. And suddenly that agent's getting a ton of leads because lead routing is like, oh, it didn't match one of these cities. So they've suddenly become kind of like this default, send it to this person kind of thing. So lead routing is really flexible. It can do a lot of fun things, but just common little things like, not putting in a city when all your other agents have cities can kind of mess with things. So it's best if you're going to route by city, have everybody have cities. Don't leave one agent out if you can help it. If you have questions on that, if you have some, really complicated system or just want to try to tighten things up, give us a holler. We're happy to work through something with you there. And then I would say the number one thing that would help us help you is if you call in with an issue, a question, a concern, something's weird, a missing listing. Examples: we we thrive on examples. If you call us and say my site broke, we can't do much with that. But if you call in and say, hey, listing number 123 Main Street has a missing criteria or a missing photo, we can work with that. We can help you with that. If you call a lead and they just say, I want a house, okay, give me more kind of thing. So give us examples. Happy to help, but come with examples and we'll fix whatever it is a lot faster. That's about all I got off the top of my head, but happy to answer any other questions.
No, those are good.
Nice.
Do you have,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry, James had asked about the difference between like brokers and agents and things like that. One thing too, when a site owner calls in or a broker level user calls in and says, hey, can you help us with the following? Or, we'll do what we can if it's possible, we'll do it kind of thing. If an agent level user calls in and says, hey, can you do something? And they don't have that permission, like an agent says, hey, I want to change lead routing, or I want to do an import kind of thing. If we tell you no, it's not because we're being mean or don't like you. It's because you don't have that permission. We do need permission from the site owner or a broker level user that can do that. Copy them on the email. If they say yes, go for it, thumbs up, happy to do it. So I promise you, if we're saying no, we can't, it's not because we don't like you. It's just because we can't.
Some interest. I see everybody's feedback around the re-engagement for Alex. I do believe that is something that is being worked on right now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in on that. That is something that we're attacking it from two ends. One is to make sure to better alert folks when somebody does enter that sort of unengagement phase after coming back. But then two, I know that the team is looking at kind of better ways to have that long-term engagement with AI, up to and including they did something, they were agent ready, but then fell off. So that is an area of focus that we're looking at there. So
I know I say this every month, but there's a huge emphasis on AI right now and doing a better job of showing clients when existing leads take important actions. So, there's a lot of services now that are getting a lot of press for reactivating seller leads or something like that. And, that's a focus of ours, is to find, because a lot of those leads are CINC leads. They are people that we generated that then got reactivated by something. So that's a focus of ours right now, and AI is going to be a really big tool for that.
Yeah.
Leanne, oh, you gonna say something, Matt? Sorry.
I was gonna say real quick, Mike, I saw your question in the chat. A fix is in testing for the home poll team and everything. So we're working on the fix. It's in testing. Hopefully we can get that rolled out. If not this week, next. Sorry.
No, thank you.
Timeline.
Yeah, look at
Don't hold me to
Purdie.
that, but that it is in testing. That usually means within the next sprint or so. So
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Squeezed it in at the last minute there. Well done.
There's no way that one's a new one.
No.
We did get a question from, I'm not sure if it's Leanna or Liana. I'm sorry. But she asked about let me read it. Let me make sure. How many leads should we receive per month in order to be effective? So is there you guys want to take that? What's a prescribed lead flow per month, I guess, per agent, in terms of a numbers game,
what we've come up with numbers before. Like at some point we said 70 but it's also, it depends on what the versus, what your goals are, how many people you have. We always want you to generate more leads and spend more money on advertising, not because it helps us, but because it helps you. Because if a certain percentage of the leads will close, and then that will improve your ROI. So I've heard 70, but if that might be a little bit too much. But yeah, so I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head either. I think Chelsea and the implementation team and a lot of the like our onboarding and training have their finger more on the pulse of that. Because as Harry had just said, it depends obviously on the size of the team, the number of agents, how much they need to be fed. But I feel like I've heard I thought it was less than that. So Dan might be talking um more of what like our average user and average size and stuff like that is. But I thought it was like
Yeah.
30 or 35 leads per month per person. Um Feels familiar, but reach out to your account manager. They probably have that. If not, they're probably sitting right next to Chelsea who they can ask, and she would definitely know. But yeah, from our team's perspective, I don't actually know because our goal is more is better than less, and we have a budget, and this is what we have, and so do as much as we can with that number, right? So that's what we've been aiming for.
Yeah. And I wonder if that'll be a moving target over the coming months as AI gets more and more integrated and allows you to follow up with more people. I mean,
Right.
that'll really let you scale um, with some of the AI stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, a couple webinars ago, we talked about Jeff, the head of product, talked about how we're in the roadmap coming up is voice AI. So that's going to be voice, which is going to be, I think, a huge deal. It'll allow follow up without you actually follow up on the phone without you actually making the calls. So that is very interesting. What do you think about that, Matt? You think that's going to be good?
What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
It'll be awesome, and I predict and foresee no issues at all with that.
$2.
Every confidence in our product team. It's going to be awesome.
Maybe they could have AI do the phone calls to Frontline. So instead of you talking to a person, a client, it's their AI bot.
Well, wouldn't that be a switch from 15 years ago when you call
Yeah.
up Bank of America or Verizon or whoever, you know?
Yeah.
All of a sudden the AI is calling in.
I'll only engage with it if it's actually in Dan's voice.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all going to
All
be
right.
Dan's voice.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
In that case,
That's what's taking so long. It was ready around 2 years ago.
I'll
but
take
I
that
had to
call.
record a lot of words. So
And his cadence. That's what's really taking long.
the
And I
Yeah. And then
the-
wait till we get Hollow Dan, Purdy. Hollow Dan's going to
God.
be amazing.
There we go. I want a
Harry, I
Dan
know
deep fake.
we had talked briefly because of the history with Matt and I and how far back we go finding pictures of us from college and stuff like that.
I don't know if
And
you talked about
I was quite specific. This is terrible, and we should not do it. It probably got kicked around in a brainstorming. Making sure that that's not the case as we're about to close out. I want to make sure Harry didn't go out and find some photos and they're about to pull them. I do not have any. I do not recommend we show them. Tank and I were freshmen in college in 2004 when Facebook was invented. Nobody
Mhm.
knew what it was going to become later, right? So my point is,
Yeah.
there are no complimentary pictures of me
Yeah,
and
I'm not going to
Matt.
run for office.
Yeah, nobody knew where that was headed. Who knew we were going to be selling houses on this website one day when you had to have a college email address just to sign up, you know?
I'm still waiting on you to produce Jake from State Farm, James. You've got a picture. It may be AI generated. We don't know. You said you knew Jake from State Farm, and you have yet to produce said
I
Jake.
produced. Oh yeah, well we showed the picture. It wasn't AI. I'll
His
reach out
name?
to him.
His
His
name is
name's
Frank.
Kevin.
So have you kept
He
in
was with.
touch, or was that just a one time?
We're buds. We hang out at Waffle House all the time now.
All right,
He was
good.
at Waffle House at like 11:30 at night. Don't ask why I was at Waffle House at 11:30, but he walked into Jake from State Farm, like wearing a red shirt. It was weird. It was fairly surreal working in advertising and seeing this guy walk in. If it would have been any A-list celebrity, Tom Cruise could have walked in. I wouldn't have cared. But I had to run over and get a picture with Jake from State Farm. So yeah, we hang out all the time now. We get late night coffee.
I think I would be more disappointed if his real name was Frank than I am that it's Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, why is
Nothing
that?
against Franks. I don't know. I just feel that in my heart.
So do you think as part of his contract he has to be nice to people 24/7? Like if he's at a Waffle House at midnight, some idiot coming up saying, "Give me your picture, take a picture with me." Like State Farm requires that.
I think it's in his contract. He has to wear red in public.
Yeah. Always khakis.
Stay on
Yes.
brand for sure. Well, awesome.
All right, well, this feels like a good place to end this call. If anybody has any last minute questions, please feel free to submit them. Happy to speak for Matt and tell you that he will stay on as long as you want him to. But yeah, other than that, thanks everybody so much. Really appreciate everybody coming on. Great questions, great feedback. Please tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your acquaintances to, oh, that's fine, Dan. I'm just in the middle of my thing, but no, you go, Dan.
Well, I wanted
Land
to give some more credit to Matt. I saw somebody gave a little comment saying that Frontline's great. I think they are great. It is like, if there's a thankless job at CINC, it is the Frontline, and Matt and crew do a great job. And I know CINC is not. Some people have said it's a little bit complicated. There's a little complexity to it. If Matt's team knows all the answers to pretty much every question you would have, so call them up and they will answer any questions. Not even about CINC, just anything in general.
Yeah, whatever.
Just life, loves, relationship questions.
We'll give you correct answers about CINC. I'll say that.
Yes.
That should be
There
the
you go.
tagline. Frontline support. We can only guarantee correct answers about CINC. Matt, what's your number, brother?
855-246-2717. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, 855-246-2717. That's how you get to the line of the front. So, and remember, we can pretty much guarantee correct answers about CINC.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else? We'll give it our best shot.
No, they know everything. For real, I just walk over there and yell not like yell, but say it loud.
Yeah, no, he comes over and just yells at us. It's very
Not even
No,
words.
I'm like, hey, everybody, like it's a nice show. All right, Dan, well, you good? Can I?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say.
All right. So yeah, thank you again, everybody, for being here, hanging out. Had most everybody here for the hour, so much appreciated. Your interaction is what makes this go. So please come back next month. We're gonna have Alvaro Arize, the CINC CEO, on.
Thank God I'm not following him. All right.
Yeah, next month. So no, Dan, you can't talk anymore. You promised me you're done.
All right.
But yeah, so he'll be on next month. So please join us. You can go ahead and sign up now at cincommunity.com/register for webinars. Thank you everybody so much for being a CINC client. We love you. And we would not be here without you. So much appreciation. Tell everybody about this and all right, Dan, what do you want to say?
No, it's just, you can wrap it up.
Okay, all right. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. We love you. See you later.